and a lot of the footage from it, correct some of those mistakes, and come back an even stronger squad.
And as a player who's only been a support player for about 6 months, Big Goose has obviously made his own impact here. Now he's been put under so much pressure as well. Being Mercy, trying to stay alive, especially by the way on Horizon. Playing Mercy on Horizon second point is like, I don't know, it's like banging your head against the wall and expecting it to tickle. It's very, very difficult, hard to stay safe, but you've kind of got to do it.
Yeah. It's just so open. There's so many places you could get shot from. So looks like we'll see, Hydration here on defense will play the Doomfist. So there's a lot of areas on this map where Doomfist can be effective. They try and push, underneath on the right-hand side, but they make a health pack. You can get those one-shot rocket punches. They go up top, they're able to do so. The really only point where it's very difficult to contest is where you see Surefour playing up here on that top high ground.
Okay, let's see what he can do. We'll see what he can do about an enemy Pharah, because obviously Flutter's going to be hunting. Hydration will need to get adequate altitude to balance out a Pharah, if that's the plan.
I was wondering if we were going to see
Soul run this. So my lord!
Soul is going to run triple DPS. They'll have Jaehong play Doomfist, and they'll have Wakid play Genji, and Fleta will play Pharah. So your solo support will be Toby on the Mercy, and then you'll have your tank speed, Winston and D.Va, and you see Jaehong get right to the back. He's able to just disrupt, right? I mean, Doomfist just caused a ton of chaos.
Yeah, I mean, enough that he could find Big Goose, and they actually get a tick in a 5v5 because Los Angeles respect Seoul so much, at least at this stage, that without their Mercy, they don't fancy going in, and maybe they're right. They try to do so. Remix falls down. Hydration gets so little done. And Seoul spend one life. They throw Jaehong in there, throwing hands, basically. That's all he was doing. Throwing some shakes, throwing hands. And the Seoul Dynasty take that first point. What an interesting passage to play. I don't know how Jaehong can play a Doomfist with such a low sensitivity, but I guess that kind of explains it.
Okay, so then he went back and switched to Soldier. Now we're going to get to see Jaehong play Lucio. So usually it's Toby that plays Lucio for this lineup. He's already at Valkyrie, so you'll have Jaehong play the Lucio here. Maybe it's only just until you use Valkyrie, then we see a switch, but at least for the time being, Hydration will stay on the Doomfist here.
Oh, Surefour! Off the map there, Fleta able to find him. I believe he just got knocked off the edge. Perhaps the wayward rocket struck him, hard to tell from that angle. Let's trade it out. Wakid goes down to Vishu. Rezzed out by Toby here now. That Valkyrie that Toby was holding on to is drawn for. And Fleta, what are you looking for, mate? Back around the side. Oh, okay, I see. Looking for a support. Shaz, watch out from the sky! Cloudy with a chance of throw rockets in your face by the looks of things here. Fleta forced to try and maintain altitude. There were still some threats on the ground. But that's the flanking Pharah strat.
See Vishu, he'll get demacked. He'll get finished off here. So Toby uses the Valkyrie. They're able to keep moving the payload closer towards that B checkpoint. They do have a self-destruct here. You did use a rocket barrage. You don't have a lot of ults here if you're Seoul Dynasty, but LA Gladiators got to move fast if they want to get out here and challenge. You have the Meteor Strike here available for Hydration, but it's going to be the self-destruct up in the sky. A few more kills come down. It'll be point B taken here for Seoul Dynasty.
What do you think about the 76 here, Matt? Is there really much that Surefour can do? Because again, he's dealing with a lot of shielding. He's dealing with Lucio who can speed people out of the way. What is it purely to try and deal with this Pharah, or is there something else?
I think it is to deal with Pharah. I mean, you can put consistent damage down on the tanks, right? But I mean, with the Doomfist, who can't really do anything to Pharah. I mean, you have Fleta there falling at the hands of Shaz. It's one way to get rid of Pharah, but you have Hydration playing Doomfist. He can't really do anything against the Pharah. So it's really Hydration's job to kind of deal with the tanks, the front line, and maybe get it play back towards the end of the supports.
That was smart by Zumba there. He might have gotten de-suited, but I believe he made it very, very hard for Ringnes to get back to his team. He was trying to, he knew the primary rate Winston was low, so it just gives him a boop, hoping that it was mid-jump. He could have interrupted it. Unfortunately, doesn't quite work out that way. Credit to the Gladiators. They kind of had a feeling that Toby would try and go in and get a resurrection there on Fleta. They used the fact that he was there, they chase him, they find him, and they get themselves at least a chance to take a breath.
Now, we'll have Fleta switch over to McCree. So you could see, if Hydration dives in deep, maybe a flashbang, and you're able to take him out. You see the Transcendence being used here by the LA Gladiators, trying to keep everybody up. They're going to get a few kills for Seoul Dynasty back.
Dragon Blade, I know his fingers are rich, and I know he'd love to unsheath it right now, but again, it needs to be in the right context. A lot of behaviors, Matt. It's all about time and place.
Well,
like this one.
There's no Transcendence on the other side. If you're Seoul, you just saw it come out. You know that Valkyrie is in play.
Can you back this up with maybe a sound barrier?
There you go.
Okay, looks like it's going to be the case. Sometimes I just want to see, But Wakid's going to come forward now as well, looking for Surefour, the tactical visor. He's got to stay alive. It's forcing the reflect out of Wakid, and Surefour gets him. clinging onto the last vestiges of his existence. He manages to turn the damage back in the face of his assailant. And Seoul Dynasty, I'll be getting the heck out of dodge, but Toby won't be so lucky.
So they tried to use the sound barrier to engage, with the speed boost plus Dragon Blade there. Didn't work out. I believe you saw Primal Rage also come out from Kuki. Now a lot of ults reset here for Seoul Dynasty. Jaehong switches over to Zenyatta. So you're going to get a Deadeye and you're going to get Valkyrie here.
How do you feel about trying to play the Doomfist now in that underpass against a McCree?
I think it's interesting in the form that, what we saw the Gladiators do to the Shanghai Dragons, obviously not the same thing, but it just gets blown up there by Junkrat. But yeah, they played it against the Shanghai Dragons the other day in that first point on Dorado and just played underneath the bridge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same setup, but now, I think Seoul are just quicker to adjust than the Shanghai Dragons were that day.
Now it looks like patience pays for Seoul. It's going to put them very, very close and in plain sight of the finish line. Now, sure for McCree, they're going to have to be fast. Deadeye coming from Fleta. Now, how is this going to be responded? You're going to do something about it. Nope! It's going to be 2 for 1. Fleta to find hydration and remixes. They desperately try and throw themselves out. And I mean, the Los Angeles Gladiators don't have any margin of error. Sure for trying to do that with Fleta, but the man's got way more support. Hydration, though, a parting gift, a knuckle sandwich, perhaps just to remind him who the big Doomfist daddy is. But Toby's still up in the air. Transcendence now coming through. I don't know how many people are going to benefit from that one. Jaehong keeping the rest of Seoul nice and topped up. Remix hasn't found his payload. He can't leave it right now. Primal Rage just to try and stall. That's all he can afford, Matt.
Yeah, it's not looking good here for the LA Gladiators because you have some reinforcements coming off the spawn here for Seoul Dynasty. Fleta goes over to Tracer. He's able to get one. Now you have a Primal Rage of your own on Kuki. It's going to be Zumba launching up a self-destruct in the sky. We'll see if he gets anything. Doesn't connect with anybody, but Toby's able to bring Fleta back in. You do have Big Goose using his Valkyrie right now. Gets one res on the hydration, just brings Doomfist back in as a disruptor.
It almost feels like a foregone conclusion here that Los Angeles Gladiators need to start getting kills, and one on Kuki is probably not going to be doing the job for you now. Bishu is falling. So he's going to go down now. Shoreford trying to stay alive, blinking around that payload there. Big Goose, what can he do from there? Not a whole lot. I think, yeah, we even saw Toby pop the Valkyrie just for extra damage. And Seoul get across the line. A decent amount of time left. Snarled up a little bit towards the end there, Matt. But we're seeing an interesting choice of comps here from the Gladiators. And maybe, I guess, you've got to stop and think about how you approach this Doomfist, this McCree, and all these different looks thrown in.
I think the biggest surprise was Seoul running the Doomfist at the beginning on offense. Jaehong on Doomfist.
For multiple reasons, perhaps.
I mean, you had Doomfist, Genji, Pharah, Mercy, Diva, Winston out of Seoul Dynasty there. Very interesting offensive strat to kick things off. You could see it out, so you could see it out of the Gladiators as well, right? Because we saw Shaz play the Genji during the preseason. You'd have Hydration play Doomfist, and then maybe you have Surefour play Afara, which we just saw him run on Ilios.
Fleta plays Widowmaker, though, it could be all over. I mean, the defensive Widowmaker is not always sort of the go-to on this map because it's pretty easy to access her. You can sort of just walk main and then jump up onto the high ground here. See Jaehong here. Bear in mind, guys, if you're not aware, Jaehong probably plays with a box that raises his mouse pad a few inches actually off the
similar to the box that I like to stand on.
Yeah, except yours is probably about 10 times as tall, but the idea is pretty much the same.
But we both use our box to play. In sense.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're basically the same.
There's Xboxes and Xboxes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Got it.
You're a smart one, Mitch.
Thanks, bro. I do try. All right, so Shaz, I saw him hovering Doomfist to start with. I assume he's probably going to be a switch here in a moment, but...
well, I mean, it's kind of a variation off the comp we just saw, but... I mean,
some sort of all triple.
We saw Shaz like Genji during the preseason as kind of odd to see. Like usually supports go over to like heroes like Genji and Doomfist who just have like a high mobility.
Sometimes. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, Jaehong does that himself, so he's going to be on his fame banner.
Different, I feel like he can play pretty much anything. I feel like we see him play Ana here because the Gladiators come in towards that high ground with a really strong push. You can use that biotic grenade, maybe a sleep.
Exactly, and that's one thing that Seoul has done so well here. They follow up Kuki diving, and they just throw a biotic grenade so that it kind of lands at the same time Kuki does, and it's really hard to do anything about that, because although you're not doing a lot of damage overall with the Tesla gun as Winston, the biotic grenade damage, plus the fact you can't heal, plus being landed on, is a heck of a lot to deal with here. Bishu, a couple shots from Jaehong and he's out.
And you can see from Bishu's point of view, so he knows that Kuki is up on that left-hand side, so you can deny that whole area with Kuki and Wiki, because you just keep firing the Junkrat No grenades into that hallway, just a lot of damage to come down. If you go on this right-hand side, you're dealing with Jaehong with the biotic grenade, the sleep darts in, you're dealing with Fleta here.
And Fleta's on the low ground, so if the Gladiators try to go low ground, jump up to high, they can still get picked off. Hydration there, stays for as long as he's possibly able, but Remix eventually is going to fall to Fleta. There are no less than 3 different distinct angles where lethal damage can come from here for the Dynasty. And you can see Fleta, he's very low. Bit of healing though, and Hydration falls. It was a game of inches and a fall. That's all the hydration would have needed. But the extra healing and great reaction time from Toby to keep Fleta up. That's stunning.
Yeah, Fleta was able to get Surefour in that fight and Remix, then finishes off Hydration there towards the end. I think the one thing you would worry about if you're Seoul Dynasty is like pushing back onto the point with this comp, right? I mean, you don't have the damage of like a Zenyatta, right? With the Discords to kind of go on in. You're really relying on Fleta to hit. There's some 6 shots and then Wiki to cause a ton of damage up in their face with that Junkrat.
All right, we haven't seen too much of the right side of the defensive setup here for Seoul so far, because it's all been happening on the left. Now Dragonblade going in for Hydration. He needs to find his target. He gets one, but it's traded out. And Ana for a Genji, perhaps not worthwhile, especially now with the res coming in. Toby is going to erase all evidence of Hydration's valiant attempt at evening the score. It's going to be Wiki now backing away just for a Riptide here. She's going to come straight on in. And this could hurt. He's going to wait a little while, and there's so much going on. The Gladiators want to be ready for this. Big Goose is knocked out of the sky. Talk about burning rubber.
And they buy so much time for that Riptire to come in by applying the nano boost on Akuki, also giving him healing from Toby, who is in Valkyrie at that moment in time. Just really a lot of resources towards your Winston, able to keep him alive, keep the point contested, and allow that Riptire to get there to take out Big Goose and Valkyrie.
And that's problematic there as well. You see that Hydration is trying to access that back line. We saw him from Fleta's perspective, and all he could really do was impotently hop up and down, and Jaehong was also there adding to the damage. Hydration is struggling to find these targets. He's expending a Dragonblade to just get one Ana, who's getting res straight away. LA need more than just that Genji getting in.
Well, it's not even really the Ana getting res straight away, it's just he's in a bad spot at that moment in time, right? With the blade, he's so far deep.
It's a huge commitment.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment from multiple players on the roster. There's Jaehong, just trying to get a sleep on the Remix. Not connected, gonna heal Zumba back up. They have to work back towards the point. You see, it was Surefour using the tac visor with Key able to take him out right away.
That hurts, it hurts so much. He heard the sound cue, and Key just put him to bed. Fleta staying safe now. Vishy diving in, but to what avail? He's just going to get desuited straight away. By the time he got to the back line of Seoul, he pretty much had no health, and now the nano boost on towards Kuki is going to be enough. So much damage available here. Kuki actually opts not to continue that duel against Surefour, perhaps understanding or realizing that there was no biotic field. He was probably in kill range, but the discipline of him to jump out and let Fleta get the job done is one of the reasons why Seoul is looking so indomitable right now.
Hydration should get close to a Dragonblade here. No support ultimates for Seoul Dynasty. I think Wiki, though, with this Riptire, could be the difference maker, right? I mean, you're able to get like a 2-for-1 here. Shaz getting close to Transcendence. You know that Valkyrie was just used. Here, it's going to be the Riptire.
Okay, now, to get some Vulcan velocity going on. Again, that Mercy kill would have been in, and that is Big Goose down. You can't afford to allow this to happen, but Seoul just takes whatever they please, and the rest is just a bonus. Transcendence drawn out on towards the point by the Gladiators. It's desperation. They got themselves 2 ticks, but the rest of Seoul are responding. They know all they have to do is hold strong, and they do. A clean sheet from the Seoul Dynasty. And the gatekeepers plant their feet once again. One more challenger falls by the wayside.
It was a great effort out of the Los Angeles Gladiators here today. They played them pretty